I've been told we've got different and numerous round tables, but here with me it's José Manuel Riva, the chairman of AMETIC, the association for multiple sectors in the ICT sector and digital content. Mrs. Teresa Palay de Juan, the chairman of the ENG Foundation General Council, and she's responsible for promoting ICTs. And Mr. Luis Cayo Pérez Bueno, the chairman of the Spanish Committee of those representing people with impairments. I'd like to welcome all those present in this meeting, and I'd like to highlight the importance of these type of meetings, aiming at, well, this is our effort because of the resources and people devoted to it, well, aiming at promoting social inclusion of people with impairments, thus promoting their self-autonomy and improving the equal access to the information society, to training, online training, to the ICTs and transport, to ICTs again, and in technological tools in general. In this conference, we will talk about numerous issues, some of them affecting those who would like to be in the cutting edge of the society. For us, people with impairments really benefit from cutting edge design, especially when we talk about day-to-day habits, like using apps for our smartphones, which have already been incorporated into our day-to-day leisure activities and in our relationships with others, the relationship with banks, when buying, when shopping, and with the outside world.
Este congreso recogerá estas cuestiones, algunas otras como los vehículos autoconducidos.
We will talk about the self-driving vehicles, cars, in this conference, and the cutting-edge plans in these fields. So, different topics that are part of the present, things that couldn't be envisaged a few years ago, but some other things that can be envisaged today, but are not part of the present yet, and would like to shed some light over those, and they're not so foreseeable, and we are thinking about revolutionary developments towards the future. I would like to kindly ask, given the current difficult situation where it's difficult to find sponsors and human resource support and financial, especially funding, to these projects, I'd like to thank the Vodafone Foundation here in Spain and Casa Domo, which along with the foundation, the ENG Foundation, have allowed us to be here today. And last but not least, I would like to thank the Scientific Committee, chaired by Jesús Fernández Galán, the Universal Accessibility Director in ENG Foundation, for having devoted so much effort and time and the best of themselves as well, because we are very lucky to count on a very strong scientific committee who is hands-on and which has devoted entirely to this project. Again, thank you very much indeed. I would like to give the floor to those in the opening session, the chairman of the Therme Foundation, Luis Cayo. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Alberto. And I'd like to thank the other attendees, Teresa and José Manuel, Jesus, who's also on the sidelines, but I can see him today. Thank you very much for being here today in this 5th edition of this conference. And since it's Monday morning, I'd like to tell you that over the weekend I was reading an interview with the inventor, or he who discovered the contraceptive pill for the FA agency, published in numerous newspapers. It's an Austrian gentleman who took residence in the US, and he was envisaging the future by saying that human reproduction would no longer be linked to sex. And what does this have to do with Design for All, you might wonder? Well, it is somehow related. Major changes are occurring. We do not know if the human conditions will be maintained and sustained in the future. Such thorough changes, perhaps the reproduction in the future will not be linked to sex. But we don't know that. But that can be translated to our field, the world of technologies, those with impairments, with differences when compared to the canon of other human beings. Body and mind functionalities are gaining in importance. People with impairments, apart from the discrimination and hostile environment, we had a different body functional capacity that is going to be less and less relevant because it'll be replaced by the technologies, and therefore it'll be less important. Therefore, we have huge opportunities for the true inclusion and effective equality for everybody. In this regard, I strongly believe that the ICTs are a great potential ally, a real actual ally to those with high support needs and diversity. However, the process is not a neutral one. Even if it's beneficial for everybody, it's not a process that is going to be equally applied to everybody. And therefore, it shall be governed, and therefore I believe that the public powers, the companies and the society in general are trying to introduce governance in this process. We need a regulatory framework under the democratic society, and legislation is very important, but we are certain that legislation is not sufficient because it has its barriers and it cannot be translated in many cases into the day-to-day of these people. But part of the governance is going to be determined by legislation. How about the financials? It is possible that the technology can support us, but at the end of the day, we are excluded because of financial reasons, and that might be one of the reasons that should be more concerning in the future. Yes, we have ICTs. They allow us to live easily, but technology is costly, and people lack in the necessary resources to purchase ICTs, or the families have no resources and therefore they are disadvantaged. This might be appealing to the scientific community, to the companies, and I believe this type of meetings and international conferences that shed some light on these issues and was interesting for everybody. They are necessary raising awareness meetings to allow for the promotion of inclusive technologies which can decrease impairments and increase humanity in the future societies. Thank you once again. I would like to thank the ONCE Foundation for celebrating this 5th conference as the Convention for the Rights of People with Disabilities. This is very important to open the gates for people with impairments. Thank you very much indeed.
Gracias, Luis.
Thank you very much, Luis. Technologies oftentimes are developed, they are available, but they are not extensively used. We need to make them more accessible. We need to reduce the cost of these technologies so that they can become available for the general public. And technologies which were applied or used by just a minority in the past should be widely used by everybody, benefiting the entire society. As Luis mentioned, the role of corporations is important. It is important for them to see that this is their opportunity for everybody, not only for them. And this is precisely a concept that we embody. This is the real concept. This is a real opportunity. We learn a lot from the groups that are rather big. Learning for all, that is. And if we see this as an opportunity, it's an opportunity for everybody. It is important for this concept to be shared with the industry, with the different sectors, and I take the opportunity to thank the chairman of AMETIC, José Manuel Aberriba, for his presence here today, and he is showing his strong commitment, the commitment of his sector with ICT for all. I'd like to give the floor to José Manuel. Thank you very much, Alberto. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the ENG Foundation and the organization in general for having invited AMETIC to this opening session. We are delighted to be here today with all of you. We are very pleased because AMETIC fully understands all the topics addressed in this Drt4all conference. Alberto has properly explained what AMETIC is. I'd like to highlight something though. AMETIC is a multi-sector company, state-owned company with 5,000 companies in Spain. 95% of them are SMEs. We account for 80% of the industrial fabric of the ICTs in Spain. One of the leading features of AMETIC is that it amalgamates the companies of all sizes, multinationals, large corporations, big operators, technologically intensive companies, but also innovative Spanish SMEs. I would like to talk briefly, because it's very linked with the theme of this conference, I'd like to talk about one of the leading initiatives in AMETIC. It is one technological platform, a VIA platform, a group or a cluster of different companies, individuals, research and innovation centers and users trying to use one specific technology and boost innovation with the aim of focusing in the high growth potential areas, thus fostering synergies and therefore allowing greater efficiencies with these type of initiatives. In AMETIC there are different technological platforms, some of them focusing on safety, other ones focused on satellite-directed communications. This platform has been ongoing for the past 5 years. It was created at the end of 2007. It was the Spanish technological platform for the independent life and accessibility tools, with the support of the ENG Foundation, funded by the Ministry of Industry and Innovation. The success of the activities and the large network of members has guaranteed its actions, and we currently have the support of the Ministry and the Foundation, and the numbers and members keep on growing. The name of the platform was changed to Platform for Technologies for Life and Independent Active Life due to the increase in scope. We have more than 600 individuals and 400 entities part of this platform. You do not have to be a member of AMETIC to be part of this platform. We'd like as many companies as possible to be part of this group, but anyone can participate, and we highly encourage everybody to be part of this platform, part of EVIA platform. We integrate the industry, universities, research centers, users, service providers, NGOs, NPOs, public sectors of innovation. Numerous stakeholders aimed at boosting R&D projects, boosting the well-being of the societies, increasing the quality of life, of elderly people, allowing them to be independent and allowing people with impairments to be independent, decreasing exclusion. We haven't invested more in R&D, but we have done it better with a proper framework. For the past 5 years, EVIA, this platform, has increased the effectiveness of the R&D in Spain. Given the current context, yes, we have challenges ahead, given the aging population, not only in Spain, but throughout the world. It is an economic challenge. The EU has heavily invested in the development of R&D products to solve this hindrance. However, we do not have numerous or sufficient products in this respect. Therefore, we have to continue working hard. However, products and services in this field have increased in Spain thanks to successful initiatives such as the very latest initiative, Emprendex, becoming an entrepreneur with experts, with the aim of providing feedback to 8 entrepreneurs in the field of active and independent life. It's like a new cluster in the field of ICT and health. The selected entrepreneurs would receive personal customized advice by relevant investors and experts, as well as social healthcare experts. We want to become a platform that can launch different startup initiatives that are most valuable in this world. And however, the Emprende project has counted on the ENG Foundation support. On the 28th of November, with the occasion of the EVIA Council, we will launch numerous projects and entrepreneurs and perhaps these type of initiatives can provide different or foster different collaborations. With regard to the platforms and how EVIA, we are part of the experts committee of a European project asking for support, and we've also participated in the Horizon 2020 project. This is the R&D and I European project until 2020. There is an opening call until December, and we've all teamed up. We are fully committed, not only the companies, but also the public administrations, in order to receive the maximum support to these initiatives. And EVIA, it's one of the initiatives that we will present, and we take pride of this initiative. The 2020 Horizon program will relaunch this platform properly. We'd like to boost the importance of innovation on October the 23rd in one event for the protection of innovation in the healthcare sector and ICTs, whose aim is to shed some light on the importance of the ICTs technologies to promote independent life in order to create different innovation clusters as wide as possible. We also want to include final end users who are the core of our initiatives. Not only do we have the Emprendex initiative, but also the Gira de Salud European Health Competition Initiative, which is like a competition forum for European SMEs in the healthcare sector. This is also there is also a Spanish initiative linked to the Emprendex program, and finally we are also cooperating with the ITMAS platform with cooperation of the Spanish hospitals. By way of conclusion, I'd like to say that all these initiatives aimed at promoting products and services based on ICT in order to promote independent and active life of our citizens. This is one of the key goals of AMETIC that's mostly needed. We believe it has an important impact on the economy, society at all levels, and we are highly convinced that with these programs we will benefit from the greatest competitive advantage here in Spain, the industrial fabric, and we'd like to state that Spain has good networks of entrepreneurs, innovative entrepreneurs that oftentimes are not successful because the breeding ground is not available for them to fully develop their innovative capacity. Therefore, I wish all the success to this conference and would like to bid our support to this conference. Thank you very much indeed.
Es importante que los...
It is important that users, researchers and companies that can cater for these demands are in constant communication and in constant collaboration. That is the reason why the EVIA platform is of paramount importance to allow open communication and common ground to build better technologies for everybody. In order to conclude this opening session, I'd like to give the floor to Teresa, the chairman of the ENG Foundation, because the ENG Foundation has been a witness of the importance of the ICTs for people with impairments. ICTs are important to facilitate the life of the blind. If there is sufficient economic resources and if the users are interested in order to incorporate such technologies. And she's going to conclude this presentation. Teresa, you have got the floor. Teresa Palahi. Thank you very much, Alberto, Jose Manuel, and Luis. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here today and to be able to share such an important meeting with you. It is important for the present and the future of the life of people with impairments. In 2005, we celebrated the first edition of this Drt4all conference, Domotics, Robotics and Telecare for All. The topics back then, the hot topics back then, which were allowing for the assistive technologies. With the passing of time and with the rapid transformation of the technologies, our acronym talks about design, research networks and technology for all. In sum, acronyms adapt to the real activity that we are trying to highlight. The works and papers presented in this conference are extensively talking about support tools, accessible transformation, e-learning for all. And in sum, this conference is increasingly attracting and shedding or attracting the interest of researchers in the field of accessible technologies in different fields. After these past conferences, we've always focused on our users. The title for this conference is Accessible Cities, where the leading role, the leading protagonist would be users. Those in the field of accessible ICTs might not find this title too appealing. However, it has a very interesting nuances given the scope of ICTs in the society.
The motto transferred the shift of DEAR towards research to the user. It's very important to involve users in this process, not just in the testing phase, but also for designing the needs and creating solutions. This is a key message that we want to deliver. On the other hand, it is mandatory for this conference to remark and highlight that on a daily basis, researchers need to be more coordinated, and they need to work closely with users, following methods that are relevant for this purpose. It is clear that the ENG wants to foster the importance of ICTs in the life of people with impairments and in their integration. Technologies are clearly a solution to get rid of those accessibility hurdles. Nevertheless, they can never be a hurdle themselves. ENG, through CIDAC, participates in this Congress, making contributions that are related to TIFLO technology, things which are linked to the mobile networks, and together with contributions from other entities and contributors, undoubtedly we're creating a promising future for people with impairments, and we're paving the way so that they can be fully integrated into society. It is a fact that the amount of research projects that reach the market is very low. So on this basis, we will deal with this matter basing ourselves on government policies and also basing ourselves on the results of co-finance projects through European funds. In order to finalize, I would like to mention and praise the balance that the Congress always likes to have between the different scientific technical works and the practical application of those. It is expected that these projects will reach people in due time. So on this basis, it is fair to acknowledge the important role played by the scientific committee and by all those people who have devoted their works to reviewing this works. Finally, I would like to encourage everyone so that all together we can make this conference a turning point, and so that as a result we can come to smart technologies that can make us overcome those accessibility hurdles that people with impairments still needs to face on a daily basis. Thank you very much. Congratulations for being here, and I hope that this conferences will be a great success.
Pues sin más dilaciones, les dejo en manos de Jesús Hernández, que dará...
Without further ado, Mr. Jesus Hernández will open the floor for the opening ceremony of this Congress.
Hola, buenos días. Buenos días a todos. Pues ya la...
Good morning, everyone. This is the 5th edition of this Congress. We started out in the year 2005, and back then we were talking about topics that we no longer mention. Very few of them are mentioned. Now in 2013, we talk about very different things. We talk about the evolution that these technologies have undergone in these years. This is a frantic change. So this is why it is justified for us to hold this type of meetings that gather everyone who is interested in having technologies which are technologies for all, really, because there's no option for us. Technology is here, and we are forced to use it. We have to use it. It's not like going to a club and deciding whether or not you want to dance or to stay at the bar drinking something. Now we get to dance. We all get to dance, but some people cannot hear the music. Some people don't see the lights. And sometimes the dancing stage is a bit too high and they cannot reach it, so we are left aside and we cannot dance. So we cannot dance in equal conditions. We cannot participate in equal conditions. And as I was saying earlier, technology has evolved since 2005. Nevertheless, we continue to have the same format. This is why we decided to put together this Congress, this meeting that gathers all those people who are interested in having technology for all. All stakeholders should be present here, because to a certain extent we all participate in technology for all. It's universities, research centers, companies, public administrations, and of course users. Users are sometimes left aside in that design process. We don't have the opportunity to participate in the process of designing technologies which are really for everyone. So technology is often related to universities, public administrations, companies, and users. And this all sounds very serious. This is why we wanted to do something different. We wanted to do it from a lighter point of view. We wanted to have Guillermo tell us about a different approach to technology. Introducing Guillermo Fesser is quite difficult. It's not because it's difficult to present him, but rather because it is quite demanding to say all the different things that he is devoted to. But what's key here is that he really makes us smile, and this is something that we all need right now, to smile, to be a bit happier. Guillermo is really engaged in this issues that have to do with impairments, and he does it quite naturally. He's understood the message so well that he himself says, society doesn't really know what this is all about. So at the end of the day, we can all come to understand what this is all about, but I'm sure Guillermo will be able to put it in nicer words and to explain it better. So he's going to deliver a speech which is entitled in a very adequate manner. It's everything for the people, but with the people, because all of us need to participate, because at the end of the day we are all users. So give him a round of applause.
Todo tuyo.
Ya vuelvo, que voy a coger agua, ¿eh?
Just a second, I'm going to get some water.
Gracias, Jesús. Yo iba a estar por aquí pululando, pero...
I was going to walk around, but just so that we can be at the same height, I will sit down, and since we are at ENG, I will put my glasses on. And now I'm going to read some words, some heartfelt words, because